And I am a co-host specialist, Garrett Dackle with 11th Signal Brigade.
And I am another co-host, Corporal Kyra Pearl with the 3rd Armored Corps Public Affairs Office.
And I am your final co-host, Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office. And you are listening to Fort Hood's Great Big Podcast.
Hey, welcome back. We are back here again in the podcast studio. We have 2 guests in the studio today. Do you mind taking a moment out to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Well, my name is Edgar Fuentes. I am a retired Command Sergeant Major, served 31 years. I'm currently the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army for Central Texas. Artillery background. I'm a father of 2, grandfather of 1.
Okay.
And love telling the story.
Okay. And I hear a little accent there in your voice. Can you tell us where you're from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Yes. New York Giant fan.
Okay. Gross.
No. New York Knicks fan. New York Yankees fan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the accent comes from. But I was born in New York. The age of 10, moved to Puerto Rico, and that's why I've joined the Army after that.
Oh.
Okay. And you?
I am Staff Sergeant Eugene. I'm the 3 Corps SSO, which is the Special Security Officer. I basically handle clearances, stuff like that.
Okay. I would come to see you here later. No. So, and where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Montreal, Canada.
Wow.
This is
Canada.
Yes.
True story. This is you will be the 2nd Canadian that we have met and worked with in this building.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's so many of you now.
We're multiplying.
Just real quick, just tell us a little bit about your journey here. Your journey is still ongoing here in the military. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, so I moved here from Canada in 2021. I was
2021. That's last year.
Oh, not 2021. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good clarification.
That's awesome.
Like, whoa.
No, I moved here in
2000
2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a volunteer firefighter in Philadelphia. It was Gladwin Fire Department. And so 2021, we all know what happened. September 11th happened. It was a very big ordeal. It was very touching. So we got a call and it said, "Hey, any available bodies come and help out." So we, all of us, we immediately got to our trucks. We got suited up, and we started traveling to New York. Unfortunately, we're not able to make it to the Twin Towers to help the other firefighters to put out the fire. So because of traffic, so the traveling, but you can literally smell the smoke in the air all the way in Philadelphia. You were able to smell it, and that touched me immediately. As soon as we're done, I tried to apply in the military.
Wow.
Because we're going to war, and that is something that I felt I needed to be a part of.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think a lot of younger kids like Sam. I hate
child over here.
She's younger, and when people ask all the time, "Oh, well, where were you on September 11th?" I was in Korea. I was in Camp Hovey, Korea. I remember. I know, like it.
Yes.
And you know everything that what was going on that day, and I think it's just important that people don't forget that, and especially with Veterans Day being tomorrow. I think it's one of those things. I know we have Patriots Day on September 11th, but I think why we serve and why we decide, like this is why I decide to join the military, or for me, and I'm pretty sure Sergeant Major, why we decide to stay in the military after that. Because I'm pretty, then you were like 10 years?
So I'm going to tell you, this is interesting. 9/11, I was stationed as a recruiter in New York.
Okay.
In fact, I was recruited in Brooklyn, across the bridge from Brooklyn Bridge. And I was there when all that happened. And in fact, after the towers collapsed, the thousands of people that were coming back from Manhattan to the Brooklyn Bridge, we was helping them, giving them water, and them covered in that concrete dust or whatever you want to call it. So it was interesting, like being this week of the Veterans Day, is that I remember right after that, some old veterans coming to recruiting station with the 214 on hand, wanting to serve again.
Oh.
Because they understood the magnitude of the event, right? And just like you, right, that wanted to decide to join because of what took place. And it was one of those. It was times that as a recruiter, I was there as a detail recruiter, so it was a 3-year gig.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get back into the force, right? Because of course I went to the Gulf War, so by that time I've been in the Army. I joined the Army in 1988.
Yeah.
So I've been in the Army for a little bit. I was E6. In fact, I'm 87 when I was over there. But just being there for those events made you a little bit, and seeing how New York came together and how the world came together, the United States in general, it just made people a lot proud. But again, I still remember those individuals, old people. You're talking about, young, you're talking about real old people now. World War II veterans coming in with 214, old people, right? Vietnam veterans from 214. And the desire to say, hey, I want to help. And they even got upset if you tell them, I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
But, the age limit and everything else, you won't be able to serve. And they're like, they'll get, come on, I know how to do this and the other. So it was interesting to see that, I guess, that dynamics when that took place and the impact and seeing the towers. And believe me, when I fully, if you think, my wife from New Jersey, so she happened to be in New Jersey when this happened. So seeing that pretty much across the Brooklyn Bridge and able to see it was real impacting back in the day. So real interesting.
Yeah. And again, Sam, I don't want to
Cracking on me over here.
leave you out of the conversation, but
That's okay.
I know that's something that I think a lot of people here. I know everyone here in this room. We could talk about that all day.
Yeah.
It's one of those things for us. Just so for you, how do you celebrate? How do you guys celebrate Veterans Day? What does tomorrow mean for you, and how do you guys celebrate that?
I think in my case is, after retirement, you tend to see things differently. While you're in uniform, of course, you in the game, in the system, and it's like, I'm going to speak for myself. So you don't consider yourself a veteran, right? Because you are still in the game.
Right.
But once you retire and you start getting with the community and seeing the efforts of all these communities, Killeen, Copper Cove, Harker Heights, Gainesville, all these communities put all these parades together and everything else for the veterans and the community itself. You get the sense of pride of what you've done, right? Because what I believe as a veteran is that, I always want to be part of something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
Right? I look at my life history, and I always wanted to prove to my parents that they raised a pretty good kid. Right?
Yeah.
So the legacy of my name and my culture is very important. But when it comes down to being a veteran, is the teams of teams. So I look at the opportunity that now I'm part of that community, right? And now it's my job to inspire the new generation, right? And support those that serve. So it's not just a, barbecue or a day off for me. It's just the ability to just tell my grandson and the importance about serving. And he's a young kid now, so he's turned 7 now. So interesting enough, funny thing about it is when I retired, he was 3 years old.
Yeah.
And so one time we came on post and he saw some soldiers. And he said, hey, Papa, look at soldiers. So, I said, I was a soldier. He said, nah, you wasn't a soldier. I'm like, hold on. You have to go home. You have to watch some pictures or something, right? Papa was a soldier. So I try to now, of course, my son also served. But again, for me, I wanted to make sure he understand that, his father and his grandfather served. But it's just a funny thing about it that he still don't think I was a soldier for whatever reason. So I have to make sure he Google my name once in a while.
Yeah, I have to tell my son the same thing. He doesn't believe me either. And for you, what does tomorrow mean, and how do you celebrate that?
So for me, I have 3 boys, so I sit down my kids and I tell them, about all the people who sacrifice, not only for America, but the 1 million people from 50 different countries that fought in this war and lost their lives for it. So I like to, tell my kids the history about it And you mentioned parades. Actually, my son is going to be playing in a parade because he's part of the marching band for Shoemaker.
Oh,
Yeah, he plays the saxophone, so it's going to be being part of that community and being part of Killeen, Copper Cove, Harker Heights, all those, and everybody coming together to celebrate this is going to be huge. So I really love that my son's going to be playing in it. And
Is this his first year?
no, he did it last
Okay.
year too. He's been playing saxophone since he's about 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, he could play all 4: the soprano, alto, baritone, and tenor.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So real quick, so you're an intelligence officer now, but that's not always what. Just I'm segueing off here because you have a son who plays a saxophone, and I can barely draw a circle. But so how we heard that you like to do puzzles and stuff like that. Is that true?
So no, so what
Oh, you don't like doing puzzles.
He said,
So-
"I hear what you're saying, but
Who
no."
gave you that,
I was-
who
I
gave you
was-
that intel?
So no, I was
Bad
describing,
intel, bad
I was
intel.
describing what
Bad intel.
Intel was about.
Okay.
So basically, for Intel we have all the ints, right? So basically they bring for myself a 35 Fox is you get all the ints, they bring you pieces of the puzzle.
Okay.
And then you create that puzzle as an analyst, you create the whole entire thing to get the better picture. And then you take that puzzle and you go and you take it to, your leadership, and then you explain how that puzzle was built and stuff like that. So they are able to get a understanding of what's going on. And so when I say, that's the reason why I said puzzle, because it's an easier way for, civilians who don't understand what we do.
Yeah.
And so it gives them it just helps them out understand what I mean, really.
Okay. So let me make sure if I got this right. So you get all the pieces for the puzzle.
Yes.
Then you put the puzzle together.
Yes.
Then you say, "Hey, check it out. This is what we got.
Exactly.
This is the course of action of whatever we should do or we shouldn't do."
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't always Intel or
No. I started off as an infantry soldier. And I was with the 82nd. I was a parachutist. What happened was I jump out of a plane. The person in front of me, he fell, and so I was helping him up. I lost my momentum. So when I went to jump, I hit the side of the plane like 3 times, and when I was coming down, I was swinging.
yeah.
And so when you're in the air, it's kind of hard to stop swinging.
Yeah.
So when I landed on the ground, I landed on my shoulder. I had 3 tears in my shoulder, where a rotator cuff injury, and the surgeons basically said that your career as an infantry soldier is basically done.
Wow.
So I told the Army, I was like, hey, I cannot get out. I want to continue serving. And so they were like, okay, we'll see what we can do. And I was blessed with getting a reclass, and that's how I got into Intel.
Wow.
So the airborne has made another soldier. I'm not gonna say that. So the airborne made another soldier choose another career, but there's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad that you had that opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm hurt and I can't do this, but I can still continue my career and I can continue to serve. And I think for veterans, that's the most important thing, that even once they do get injured or they feel like they can't continue that job, there's a way that they can continue it.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Army do a pretty good job to that too. I mean, there's a lot of soldiers that get, either injured in the job or any time of ailment. I've been around a lot of soldiers that, as artillerymen, they got injured. And the same thing, the commitment they want to continue to serve is what get them over the hump and actually there. But because you want, right? You want that individual, right? You want the individual that even when knows they got hurt and they got some limitations that can particularly do a job, in the infantry in your case, that still have the ability to serve and do an excellent job in other areas. So, and of course, the amount of jobs in the armed forces when the Army there are a lot. So there's an opportunity to do that. So it is about, how much the person wanting, right? Because some people can easily, see their way out by a medical or whatever the case may be. And it's a personal choice, obviously. But then again, you find that some people that just, has a little bit more left and Next thing you know, they
I
change.
have a little bit of umph left.
Absolutely.
That's all you need is just even if it's just fake umph, it's better than no umph. Because some people
Fake
like
until you make it. Right?
Yeah,
That's
fake
what they say.
you know, I think with being serving in the Army, I think it's one of those things like you don't really think about the for me it was 1998. I don't think about 99, 2000. Like I don't think of none of that until 2014. Those are the only two dates I really remember in my military career is 98 and 2014.
Right.
That's it. Everything else is just like I was there. Like
Right.
you know, you it doesn't seem like it was that long, and it doesn't seem like so much had happened. And yeah, so I totally get that wanting to stay in.
Yeah, time's flying when you're having fun.
Oh man, is it? Especially
No, and I say for myself, I think that the only reason, I don't think, you hear a lot of people, I'm going to retire from the Army, but I never thought I was going to retire from the
Yeah.
Army. I come in 4-year gig and figure out, okay, let me see, I like this. I had some, my cousins on serving in Vietnam, so
Yeah.
I'm, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, so all the influence of those movies back in the day,
Yeah.
in the 80s, just always wanted to serve. It was always intriguing about the uniform, the weapons, and all that good stuff. But in the blink of an eye, it was 1988 in Germany, and then next thing you know, I'm in front of a formation as a sergeant major.
yeah.
So I can understand what you're saying, but it seems like the time just flies.
Yeah.
It does.
Just
It
flies.
does.
Yeah.
You don't remember. I know. Last veteran story. I promise. I know Sam has other stuff she wants us to talk about, but so I came in. First duty station was Fort Stewart. We would go to the field for like a month at a time, and we'd do nothing. We'd barbecue.
What kind of unit you was in?
I was
gonna say, I think you're
discount.
gonna have-
When I say did nothing,
Okay. I mean, wow.
we did
Barbecue.
not we did not do what a few years later like the field was different. I guess is
right.
the best way to say it.
Okay.
So I come in and then I go to Korea and September 11th happened and it's just like, oh man, everything's changed. Like the way we trained for just the field, the way we did everything was just completely changed. And then after that, here we are. It's been 20 years since that day. So I just, yeah, it's amazing to see how much things have changed and then how much things have stayed the same. And if I could, I probably still would stay out of the Army. No, I'm not going back in. I say that. I say I'm not going back in, but maybe if I needed to go back in, I would, because I didn't do public affairs in the Army. I was a NBC gas mask.
Okay.
So nuclear, biological, and chemical specialist
Thank
for those
you.
out there who
With barbecue in the field.
Yes,
I was gonna say if we're barbecuing, I'll
Yeah.
sign up for that.
but and I think places like Killeen, like I'm from Killeen. I'm one of the few people who can honestly say I was born at Darnell
Wow.
a lot of years ago in the late 1900s, and I'm still here. And just to see it grow and just to see the amount of veterans that come here. Like I came here because my grandfather was a veteran and he got out of the Army in the Army Air Corps. That's how old that's how long we've been here. He was here for the Army Air Corps. But I think seeing Killeen, and I think we're like over 400,000 veterans in the Killeen metropolis, Coppice Cove, just in all the surrounding
Right.
communities. And I think those veterans is what makes this community amazing for me. I think that's why I decided to move back here.
Definitely. I think what makes, again, when you're around a large population of retirees in the military, you keep that as the integrity, right, of the people that either know someone that knows someone that knows
Yeah.
someone, right? And then it's multicultural, right?
Yeah.
Compared to any other major city, you'll go to New York. I mean, different, but to any other city in Texas, this is definitely
Yeah.
different. Yeah, just because our veterans.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask, based off of that question, Fort Hood actually just had their Retiree Appreciations Day last weekend. And the one thing that people always talk about prior to that is how veterans want to come back on and they want to talk with the young soldiers about how things have changed over the years. Eric, you had mentioned that a little bit. Do you guys want to talk about that from your perspective, how things have maybe shifted over the years?
I think I retired in 2019. So in 30 years of service, I saw a lot of change.
Yeah.
And some some old soldiers don't like change. Right?
Yeah.
You can still find them. Why we change boots and you
Yeah.
know, why we don't start uniforms and why we let people use earrings now. So I think that I'm all about the evolution of anything. Right? We cannot stay stagnant because if we do, we just don't grow as an organization. Right? And we have to adjust to the time. So I'm all about that. And I came in at the time that my platoon sergeants and first sergeant were Vietnam veterans, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember telling me as a young private, right, oh, are you soft? I'm like, man, I just got here, man. Okay, you know, what's going on? But you see that again, right? So now you see the old soldiers like myself. And again, I don't call no one soft, but they trying to compare the time they served to what now. And I think the Army itself, we can do a little better in being proactive, in my personal opinion. But we are changing with the times, and that with changing times come technology. With changing times comes a way of communicating, right? Social media, right? What we're doing right now, right? Back in the days, in my time, you wanted to read about anyone who had to do anything, you had to pick up a newspaper. Yeah. And especially in Germany, the Stars and Stripes, right? To read anything. If not, you will never find out about, veterans or anything like that. Of course, there was stories and Medal of Honors and everything else. But since the implementation of social media, now you hear the stories, right? And I think the Army at one point, yeah, absolutely. At one point, I think they even encouraged of all these veterans that had stories to record them and send to archives so people can actually go back and listen to them. But nowadays, most of these, again, I used to love to read about Medal of Honors, recipients back in the days. But now it's a quick Google and all kind of podcasts that you can listen to what they went through. So I'm not afraid of change. And I think that in order for us to continue to be lethal, to continue to be the best, we had to accept that change. Yeah. Because if we stay into the norm of the way it was done in the past, we not be as good as what we are today.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for you, how have you seen the change since 2001?
Oh wow. So I joined the Army in 2011. So I've seen it's been great change within the Army itself. So I remember coming when I was a young PFC in the Army, and I would go in Garrison, and I wouldn't even look at my squad leader. Yeah. You were terrified of your squad leader and platoon sergeant. You never cross paths with them. So what I like now about the Army now is that, these young soldiers can come up to a staff sergeant and be like, hey, staff sergeant, like what I need to do and stuff like that. And you're there to help them. Yeah. So it's all that toxicity is gone from the Army. I'm gonna say it's totally gone, but we're making better changes. And I love that about this organization is that we are able to evolve and make ourselves better.
It's definitely a cultural change, right? Because even back in the days when I joined, you saw a sergeant major and you're like, oh man, I don't want to talk to this guy. Walk the other side of the street. Completely. Yeah, absolutely. And I believe once I made sergeant major, I think that was one of the things that back in my head all the time that I want to still have that connectivity with a soldier, right? Yeah. Because the longer you stay in the Army and the senior you are, the less connected you are to that troop and the motor pool and everything else. So I remember I served sergeant major for 2 battalions, and eventually I became a Garrison sergeant major. But while I was in the battalion sergeant major, I just told my commander, I want to go and be with the troops, right? Because I didn't want to be like those old sergeant majors that were just, unfortunately, the grass, right? Get off my grass. That's the thing what sergeant majors know about, right? I did not want to know about that. I did not be. I just wanted to be known for the person that stood as close as could to reality, right? Because I think what I enjoyed the most as a sergeant major at the time, when I just walked to a motor pool and just jump into a conversation on Monday after a football game, for example. And just understand, I mean, I'm not as young, obviously, as the young guys, but I still can relate to you, right? And one of my old mentors told me, you don't want to be a picture on the wall. Yeah. Right? And unfortunately, we have a lot of leaders that just become a picture on the wall, right? Yeah. And that is not the way to lead, right? And I think now the generation change, the whole culture change, is that we had to be more, active in terms of looking for that
Hip.
role. Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta be hip.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, I got my own swag, right? I do
Yeah.
my own thing, right? That's on me. But and that's it's interesting because I told my first son, I said, you don't have to be the cool kid, man. You don't have to be the cool first sergeant. Don't get that.
Yeah.
Just be yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, I told people all the time as a private, I didn't jump in the Army as a sergeant major now. Don't you, because sometimes you look at a sergeant major, it's like, this guy's sergeant major. But listen, I'm glad TikTok and YouTube was not around when I was growing up. There'd be a whole different thing going on, right? But the reality is that it is just that culture change, right? Is for the benefit.
Right.
And I believe I call some of those guys, if you become a dinosaur, you're going to be extinct. If you have that dinosaur mentality, right, of approaching and not talking to a private just because you're a sergeant major, or whatever the case may be, you become a dinosaur. You become a dinosaur. And so culture change, for example. I was a sergeant major for the first unit that accepted females in artillery here.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
And of course, big change, right?
Yeah,
big
huge
change.
change.
And you see, and the whole everybody was on my back. Hey, how you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? So listen,
Yeah.
they 13 mics at that time. I had some 13 Bravos and 2A2FA, and I said we can treat them just like they are soldiers, right? Because you are a member of this team, you're gonna be respected. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you look like. So I think at that point in time, everybody was, how you gonna do it? How you gonna do it? And I remember having a meeting with the young soldier at the time, and so I said, I'm gonna treat you just like I treat anyone. You are here to perform a job, right?
Yeah.
Now we adjust accordingly. And interesting enough, the generation, that E4 and below, they didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They're like, hey,
About
can
time.
she do X, Y, and Z? Yeah, okay, it's game.
Great.
It's
That's
a game.
it. That's all I need
But
to
you
know.
have some people in the E7 aboves, like, oh, hands off. I was like, no, listen. If your mentality is that, it's time for you to put your retirement paper and move out.
Yeah.
Right? Because this train, you're not stopping this train, right? And I love the fact that, in fact, one of my first soldiers, she eventually got a recommendation to go to West Point. Eventually became, she didn't finish West Point, but eventually she became an officer. And now she is an officer. If I'm not mistaken, is a logistic, but she's stationed in Korea right now.
Wow.
But it was, I remember telling her, I said, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
Because she had, from Jersey, and she had all this mentality. Listen, I'm not asking for no favors. Just, I'm going to do my job.
Yeah.
Rate me on my performance, not the way I look or my gender, right? And it was awesome. So the culture changed, and I used to tell all the time to all my senior NCOs, if you think for whatever reason it's across your mind that you cannot adapt to this, time to ETS, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retire ETS, you become a dinosaur, you're going to be in a museum somewhere, and you're going to be okay. But this train, you're not going to stop it. So culture change, very, very important.
All right. I think the one big thing, I'm going to try to wrap all this up. So, Veterans Day started in it started at Armistice. I can't say the word.
Armistice?
Armistice.
Yeah, 1919, yeah.
Say the word, Sam.
I'm not saying the word because I'm going to mess it up too.
Either way,
President Wilson. So I give
Yeah,
you
there
that's
you go. Yeah.
It started, almost over 100 years ago, and it's evolved, into what it is today. And now, when you see people come together, you see the community come together to just give thanks to those veterans who came before them. Some who they may not even know, have any idea who they were. Like, we still celebrate World War II, World War I, because it's important that the community comes together. For you guys, why is it important that we, continue to come together and celebrate those veterans and continue to evolve as a community and continue to support those veterans?
I believe that it's like the saying goes, it's a legacy, right? You need to know what happened in the past in order to not to repeat their errors and understand how to evolve. I think as a nation, we have to continue to give thanks to those that serve. Regardless they serve 2, 3 years, 4, 30 years, that make a difference. But they actually raised their right hand and wanted to serve. So as a nation, we should continue that, right? Especially now, right? 2022, you don't see that many World War II veterans left. Now you got the new generation, the next generation of Vietnam veterans, in Korea there. There's not that many of them left, right?
Yeah.
And the next 10, 20 years is going to be us. right?
Exactly.
The old guy with a veteran hat on in the corner, right? So to me, it's important that as a nation we continue to say thanks, because I believe that when you talk to these old veterans, right, the only thing they want is thanks. They don't want nothing else, right?
Yeah.
And here in Fort Hood, around this area, Killeen, Texas, you see a lot. But every time I go, either I'm traveling or whatever, and I see, in Disney World, for example, in Disneyland, California, you see somebody with a veteran hat on or whatever, I approach them and say thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And then sometimes, you serve too. I don't want to make it about myself. I say, nah, man, I'm just saying thank you, man, for what you did. And I think that's what's important. It's important for us to continue as a nation to say thanks regardless of, how much the time they serve or if they went to combat or not. It's just irrelevant. I think it's just the fact that they serve the nation is very important.
For you?
Stole the words right out of my mouth.
I'm gonna copyright that, man.
Yeah. So, for me is I want my kids to understand what happened in the past. So exactly, but I don't want it to repeat itself in the future. So, I just want the younger generation to understand, to be thankful for what they have now, because, and back in World War I, World War II, a lot of people lost a lot.
Yes.
And so I don't want my children or have be. I just want them to be grateful for what they have. That's mostly what I got.
So, Sergeant Major, before we get out of here, do you have a veteran's hat, or are you're waiting?
So I do not have a veteran's hat.
See, okay.
So
That's a good question.
I think I mean, I don't want to age myself, but I'm 52 years old. I said when I hit like 62.
Exactly.
Okay,
65.
so my dad served, and he is in his 60s, and he still does not have one.
Yeah.
He refuses. He doesn't want people to come up to him and thank him. That's why he's like, I don't want one. I don't want people to know.
It's not about. So let me see. I think. When I retire, right, everybody say the first thing, oh, you're gonna get your veteran, retire hat and everything else. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get it, right? So for the joke, after I retire, next thing you know, I'm getting all these gifts in the mail, and I got like 10 hats, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are these things are coming from? Because there were none of them. It was just like things that people buy, whatever.
You have to get the ones with the pins.
Yeah, I mean, some people, the rank, all the awards. Listen. I think that. Again, culture change, right? I'm just gonna say, I believe that. Not that I don't want attention, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that even as proud as I am, the time I did and what I serve and the stories I serve with, I don't want to outshine nobody about anything. So it's not about the hat and it's just about I just don't like to wear a hat like that. Now you can see me in a fitted New York Yankee hat, but it's just the whole thing. Yeah.
All right. Last question. So later on this, at the end of November, I'm going to Chicago. Well, I plan on going to either Chicago or New York. What's the best food? Not Junior's cheesecake.
Yeah, cheesecake, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
But what's the best place that you would recommend on it's going to be like only a 2-day trip? What's the best
it's
food?
what you want to eat, right? Because if you're talking about something quick, you want a slice of pizza, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere in Brooklyn, you can get a slice of pizza. You want something that had to do with maybe I'm going to say some gyros or gyros or whatever.
I like food that if I saw it, I'd be like, I don't know if I should go in here and eat this type of food, but it's delicious.
So, I, as a kid, I never went to a restaurant until I became an adult, right?
Yeah.
Because McDonald's was a restaurant, I guess. I mean, if you talk about steaks and everything else, you go downtown Manhattan and you're going to pay a pretty penny, but you're going to get
Good
the
food.
best, right? I'm not that guy. I like that hot dog. I like that pizza, right? The real greasy pizza.
Yes.
I want it
dripping
dripping.
in the
Yeah.
hand. That's the pizza. I like,
That's the ones
right?
that don't. Okay.
People trying to imitate it. You cannot get it. So that's the pizza I like. So that's why I recommend.
And there's no name to it.
No, it's a pizza.
Anyway.
It's just a place
Pizza,
down the street
listen,
on whatever.
You just hope the place is serving it past the health inspection.
Exactly.
That's the only thing you hope. Other
That's
than
always
that,
the best food.
Yeah, any Puerto Rican place, Dominican place in Brooklyn, you're going to get good food.
Okay. Well, any last words before we get out of here today, gentlemen?
Well, I'm going to say thank you, first of all, for the invite, and more importantly, for those that are listening, I think take some time and just shake somebody's hand, right, this weekend when you see some of those, World War II and Korean and Vietnam veterans that, evolution of the cycle of life is coming, right? So they're not going to be here too long with us. And just shake those guys' hands, and say thank you. And listen to them. Listen to a little bit because, I think the older they get, the story's more interesting to get.
Yeah.
But I think just take some time and I think just like you saying is, teach the kids around it to have some respect just because they serve, right? And different to how they look and what conflict they serve or didn't serve. And just take some time to say thank you. It means a lot and it carries a long way.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for being here, and so like for me, like obviously I'm Canadian. I've mentioned that before, but it's for me as a Canadian joining in the United States Army. It's it's a privilege. I don't take it for granted. I wanted to be part of something big. And so having this opportunity is great, and I'm glad I'm here to tell my story about it. And I'm thankful for this. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you both for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. And I know I love hearing the stories since, I'm the youngin' here.
There's a lot of stories that she's like, what are y'all talking about? That didn't exist. What did y'all do with that phone?
We was born in 1900s, man. That's the problem.
Yeah. This is history for you.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Save money and get special military discounted tickets to your favorite attractions like Six Flags, Schlitterbahn, SeaWorld, Disney World, and more. Stop by our Leisure Travel Services office located right here on post to get those tickets. For more information, go to our website at hood.armymwr.com. Have fun!
And welcome back. We have two guests with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself, ladies?
Hi, I'm Summer Barbina, and I'm the president of the Fort Hood Military Family Member Scholarship Fund.
And I am Angel Egan, the vice president of the same organization.
So the Fort Hood Military Family Scholarship Fund. Did I get that right?
Almost. Fort Hood Military Family Member Scholarship Fund.
Ah, almost there.
It's a long one.
So for shortened, do you also go by the Fort Hood Scholarship Fund?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It makes it a bit easier.
So what is your organization all about?
Yeah, so we provide academic scholarships to military dependents, to high school seniors, and to military spouses that are assigned to Fort Hood. We cover scholarships for both active duty, retiree family members, and also to our Gold Star families.
That is so amazing. Whenever I hear scholarship, I always think high school. I never think about the fact that you can still apply and get those amazing funds even if you're already a regular adult.
Yeah, so we do extend it to our military spouses for their first degree working towards their bachelor's, which is pretty amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so just what are some of the things that those students who are wanting to apply for your scholarship, what are the things that they have to do?
And is it different? Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. No, we have an application that's going to go live on our website on November 14th. And Angel, as our scholarship chair, can give you all the details about what they need to do it correctly so that when it's submitted, it'll go right through the process here.
Yeah, so basically there's two ways that you can apply. You can apply on our website, forthoodscholarship.org, and click on the application Apply Now. You can complete it. We ask that you upload your transcripts from your high school or college if you're a military spouse. Mm-hmm. We ask that you upload your copy of your DEERS ID or DEERS printout or military ID. We also ask that you upload
DD-214 if it's a retiree.
Yep. Same for Gold Star family. There's a form that they would need to submit to us as well. Mm-hmm. And then once you complete the application is actually relatively easy. It has if you have any prior job experience, if you have any volunteer experience, they look at that. They also look at your essay question, which is 750 words.
Yeah.
What's the writing prompt?
Ooh, this is a good
Oh,
one.
you
That's
see
a
what I
good
did
one.
there? Oh,
So this year, our essay question, and it is the same for military spouses and high school seniors.
okay.
It is reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea, and what prompted your thinking, and what was the outcome.
That's
Pretty deep questions.
yeah.
Yes.
That is definitely a college level question there. Made me think about it. I have to think about that one myself too.
We're really excited to see the responses on this one.
Okay. And so, on average, how many applicants do you usually get per year?
Yeah, so last year we had 28 applicants. We had 27 high school seniors and one spouse, and all of those applicants received a scholarship. I think we had a couple that were not completed properly. Is that right, Angel? A few
Yes.
submittals that were incomplete, that were not considered. But in the past, I was just going through some of our historical documents, and the peak that I saw in 1996, we had 150 applicants, and we would love to see our numbers grow this year. We're really trying to spread the word, get the word out to the units and to the folks in the area about this program so that they can apply.
And just how much for the scholarships, is it different amounts per child or per year, or how does that work?
So it really is based on the amount of donations that we receive. We are a 501c3 organization, so it really depends on that. So typically our scholarships range between 500 up to 5,000. Last year we received a little bit extra donation, so we started our scholarships at 750 to 5,000.
Okay.
I love that your application process takes into account volunteer hours. I don't think enough things do take that into account. So speaking of volunteers, who runs your organization?
Yes, so we are all volunteer run. We have 8 board positions, 5 of which are filled right now. And they're all different facets of what you see here at Fort Hood. We've got a government employee who's stepping in to fill one of the positions. We've got military spouses, full-time work, employed full-time that are also double hatting to volunteer with our organization, which we really appreciate. But anyone can step up and volunteer that has an affiliation with Fort Hood. So we are looking to fill a couple of vacancies as well. We can lead into this. We have a treasurer position that's open that Angel has been wonderful to double hat on again this past year. She's done a great job. But treasurer, we have a secretary position, and then advisory committee chair position as well.
And then I know you just said you have those spots vacant, but is there any other way that the community can help your organization?
Absolutely. We have a few different ways folks can get involved with us. One other opportunity to be involved is to, if you're a soldier or family member in a unit here at Fort Hood, we do have an advisory committee, and folks are encouraged to represent their brigade in our advisory committee meetings. We put out information to say, what the latest is going on in the organization. They can bring it back to their unit, and if there are unit questions that need to come back up to us, they're kind of like a liaison there. So we have that. We are always accepting donations. We have a couple of fundraisers going on. We have a link to PayPal on our website for financial donations. We have a T-shirt fundraiser. Angel and I are wearing some swag. We wish you could see it, but we have cute T-shirts and hoodies and whatnot available on our website. Through Bonfire. And then we actually are starting a new fundraiser coming up soon that's going to be selling holiday wreaths through Lynch Creek Farms. It's an online fundraiser, and you can order holiday wreaths for family members or coworkers, and they're shipped straight to their house. So that's another fundraiser that we have going on.
And then we also, for our award ceremony that happens every May, we have volunteer opportunities as well for them to come out and help support the event.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for you guys, why was it important for you guys to get involved with an organization that not only gives back to children of military family members and those Gold Star families, but to spouses of soldiers?
So as a spouse myself, I see the struggle. Your spouse's career always comes first in the military. That's just the way that it goes. And a lot of us spouses had to put our education on the back burner, right? So that's, for me, that's why it's so near and dear to my heart that we extend that to the spouses, so that way they have an opportunity to do the classes and to attend college and get an education, despite of everything else that goes on in a military family dynamic.
Yeah. I know some people may say, you know, oh, it's just $750. That's a lot of money, even as an adult going through college. That's $750. That's a lot. That's 2 classes for me. So I just know that it's important to see that you care, that someone cares, that the community members care, like other family members that are just in the same position as you care enough to like, hey, look, this is what we want to do to get you to your educational goals. Because I didn't go to college until I was old.
Yeah,
So-
same.
Yeah, but you know what? I am better for it. I'm happy that I did. But I think if I had more opportunities like that growing up, I probably would have went to college earlier. But I'm here, so that's all that matters.
I love that you mentioned the impact that being a military spouse can have on their own personal career and educational growth. As a soldier, I don't really think of that aspect, and I really think I should more often. I think we all should take that into consideration more often. I know one of my friends, she's a military spouse, and she is about to have to stop her college mid-degree because they're getting sent overseas. And I just can't imagine having that happen over and over again because, you know, if you're in it for the long haul, you got a lot of moves to go. So that's amazing. Has anyone told you how much of an impact being a part of this program has been to them?
We actually have someone on post here who was a recipient in 2003 as a high school senior, and she now is an employee and has come to a few events that we've been at, and she has been very excited to share how it impacted her life. So there are definitely there are a number of people, and just I tell you what, she is so excited. Literally got up like yelling about how excited she was about this scholarship and how wonderful the fund is. So, yeah, we're so proud of her and to see her. The organization, I don't think we've mentioned, but we've been around since 1985. So folks that have received some of the early scholarships are, I mean, well into their careers, having children at this point, probably in high school already. I mean, it's crazy to think about the impact that our organization's had.
So this organization has been around since the late 1900s. I keep bringing that up because I am also a product of the late 1900s.
Hey, you're not the only one.
Yeah, and also of clean Fort Hood. So that's another good thing. I especially love to see it when someone who's from the area is able to use a benefit like this, and then they're still here, and now they're paying it forward in a way. And I think it's Christina. I can't say her last name.
Yes.
I'm not gonna mess it up.
Yes.
I the ninja is what I call her.
That is
But
correct.
for me, I know her. I know her passion, and I know that she is great. Like she pays it forward all the time with just the education that she has, and she's just like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And she's just like, it's because I went and I got an education, and I want to stay in this area. So
Yeah, it is definitely vital. And we love to see, especially the high school seniors, just the boost that it gives them too, not just financially, but emotionally, to say, hey, you're an awesome kid, and we are looking forward to see what the future holds for you.
yeah, but that writing prompt though, I'm still thinking about it. That writing prompt. I started my master's program, and that is like that is a legit college level writing prompt that I have to go through.
Don't forget the word count. 750, right?
750.
No
750.
more. Yeah. No,
And
that's a pretty
but
good.
it doesn't have to be AP style though, right?
No.
Oh, gosh,
man.
can we look at that?
Because that's what gets me is that AP style, and it's like, oh, we gotta have a 750 word count, double space. So, okay. So again, just you guys were started in the late 1900s, and you guys have been here at Fort Hood. Is there any other programs like this across the Army that you guys know of?
There are many. Most installations have some form of a scholarship program. Oftentimes it's nested underneath of the Spouses Club.
Okay.
And that's actually how we originated. And then we broke off in 1985 as a separate entity so that we could expand who our donors are. Instead of being solely funded by the Spouses Club now, they are still a huge supporter of us from year to year. The Fort Hood Area Thrift Shop is a supporter. The Great Place Gift Shop, which used to be the Heart of Hood, they're also one of our sponsors, and then several others. We have First Heroes National Bank, Walmart's been big lately, the Frank and Sue Mayborn Foundation. So there are several, but on post, the Spouses Club, the Thrift Shop, and Great Place. I almost said Heart Hood. Great Place Gift Shop. If y'all support them, your dollars are almost directly coming right over to us in some way, shape, or form. So we greatly appreciate them.
Cool. And you mentioned the other off the installation or other entities that support. How important is it to see big business supporting soldiers here on Fort Hood and families?
Well, I think that it's incredible. I mean, we're so excited that these large corporations see the value in our program and see the value in the future of our spouses and high school seniors. It just goes to show you that they recognize the challenge that our military families face and that they're deserving of this funding. Absolutely.
I really resonate with that. Like, they're recognizing the sacrifice that not just our service members, but those who love them are dealing with. Yeah.
So when do I have to have my 750-word AP style? No, it's not AP style. But does the applications for the scholarship fund have to be in and complete by?
So our enrollment ends on Monday, February 21st.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And as far as, is that for donations as well, or is the donation deadline different?
The donation deadline is different. So the donation deadline is April 30th because in between the application deadline and the funding deadline, we have what's called a selection committee. So the selection committee is the one who reviews all of the applications, essays, and then, so we have time in between then and there to get additional donations and to support the scholarships.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So I know you mentioned your website, which I believe is forthoodscholarship.org.
Yes.
Is there any other way that anyone who's curious or has more questions can reach out to you or your team?
Yeah, absolutely. They can email us at info@forthoodscholarship.org, and then one of us will be glad to respond to the email that comes in. If they have any other questions, they can also contact us on our website. There's a Contact Us feature. They can send it an inquiry that way as well.
Yeah, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram, and you can message us through those platforms.
So what's your @ on Facebook or Instagram?
Fort Hood Scholarship Fund on Facebook and Fort Hood Scholarship on Instagram.
Well, I had to ask because, the kids these days.
Absolutely. They don't care about the website.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both so much for coming in today. Was there anything else that you wanted to let us know?
Sure. I'll put in one more plug here. We're going to be in person out at the Fort Hood Spouses Club Holiday Bazaar, which is the 19th and 20th of November out at the Killeen Civic Center. So if you just want to have a face-to-face with us, come and ask a question, get some information. We will be there walking around and engaging with everybody out shopping for the holidays.
Getting some cocoa.
It's always good to have those face-to-face opportunities. Sometimes technology can be intimidating.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming into the interview today. I know I really appreciate it. I'm sure all of our audience does.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to leave your loved ones behind? Even large vehicles float, and overconfidence kills. For your own safety, don't drive into floodwater. It's not worth it.
Well, I wish Dakar and Pearl would have said something
I
before they
know.
just got up and left.
They
but
just sneak out.
yeah,
They're
we
the
literally blinked our
worst.
eyes and they just walked out the
I
door.
know. So rude of them.
Shenanigans.
But at least they were here for the interviews,
Exactly.
which
and
were both amazing.
that's the best part about it.
Absolutely.
So
that.
this week we have a lot of stuff going on over this next couple of days. If you're hearing this right now, make sure you come meet us at the 3 Corps Shopette, because the Dallas Cowboys truck is going to be doing a bunch of cool stuff. They're going to have like some giveaways and some other stuff going on, and that's before Veterans Day. And then on Veterans
Yes,
Day,
if you're listening to this the day it comes out.
the day it comes out.
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday.
Yes.
And then that's on Thursday the
Yes.
10th. I think
Yes,
that's
that
today.
is correct.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't keep up with my days. That's what I have Sam
Yeah,
for.
it's Thursday the 10th.
Yes. And then tomorrow we have several events that's going on, Veterans Day events that's going on across the
Absolutely.
community.
So we actually have Veterans Day events that are happening before.
Oh.
So hopefully you were able to attend those because we had one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday.
That's
But yeah,
true.
so going forward on Friday, November 11th, Veterans Day, we're going to have people from Fort Hood who are participating in community events. There'll be we'll have people participating in the Austin Veterans Day Parade, the Veterans Day wreath laying ceremonies, and association banquets in Arlington, Virginia, the Dallas Veterans Day ceremony, and the Killeen Veterans Day ceremony, as well as the Tarrant County Veterans Day Parade and the Baylor Scott and White Veterans Day ceremony. So that's all happening on Friday, the November 11th, so actual Veterans Day. And then on Saturday, the November 26th, so this is a little in advance, but we'll have people from Fort Hood who will be attending the wreath laying ceremony at Central Texas Veterans Cemetery.
And also, there is, I know we're speaking out in advance, but the best thing that happens around this time of year starts today. Is it today or tomorrow it starts?
Starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So
the 11th. So there's so much happening on the 11th.
Yes. Also on the 11th, the coolest thing that I've been doing since I was a young jitterbug here in Killeen was go to Nature and Lights.
Yes.
The coolest thing ever. If you haven't been to it, you're missing out.
Nature and Lights is amazing. So
It's
I have
amazing.
been here since 2020, and I have gone both years that I was here for it, and I'll be going again this year. And I'm excited because this year we have a fun new plot twist.
Uh-oh.
They are doing a food drive this year. Okay, so the goal is 10,000 pounds of food. So in order to do that, everybody needs to bring at least one can or bag or item of non-perishable food with them. That's it. That's all you got to do.
That's it. 10,000
one.
pounds. It seems like a lot, but it's really not a lot when you look
Yeah.
at the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
Also, if you go to Santa's workshop that's out there, I think it's called Santa's or Santa's Village, I think
Santa's
is what it's
Village, yes.
They have hot cocoa and yummy treats out there
And
that
do
you can purchase.
Photos with Santa, right?
And photos with Santa. Also, if you get there early in the year in the celebration, you can get it. You can buy an ornament. Correct?
So you can get an ornament for free.
For free.
Like by paying your normal amount if you go Monday through Wednesday during the first couple of weeks while they have supplies.
Oh.
So you got to go. I would go this coming Monday.
Yes.
That's when I'm probably going to go so I can get an ornament.
Exactly.
Be a nice festive ornament. Should be fun.
And get some hot cocoa.
And bring
with
my
marshmallows.
non-perishable food items.
Exactly.
So we
At
can
least
donate.
one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Because all of that is going to go back to the community. It's
The
gonna
local
go,
community,
yeah,
correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we're going to donate it to local food banks and organizations that are taking care of the community here.
So you're helping out,
Yeah.
having fun, and helping out again.
Yeah, I love all of that.
And
I'm excited.
I think that's it. That's all that we have. Just make sure you guys tune in and share, like, and do all that other good stuff.
Absolutely. We will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Hood and Fort Hood Public Affairs production. The show's theme music is written and produced by Delicious All-Stars. All our music is obtained through Filter by Songtrader. Have a question or want to share some insights with us? Email us at forthoodpao@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at USAG Fort Hood. And as always, be sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.